On today's show, The Good, the Bad, and Still in Love, we will be discussing relationships and how to keep them happy and healthy. Mike, have you ever been in an unhealthy relationship?
No.
Oh, well, I guess I'm the only one. But since it's only geared towards me, Mike, we have someone here that is going to help us get our relationships together. We have author Stacey J, and she wrote the book Just You and I, and this book will change your life.
Awesome. Let's welcome Stacey J to the show.
Yes.
Thank you guys for having me.
Of course. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, I'm excited.
So tell us a little bit about this book and what inspired you to write it.
Okay, so a lot of things inspired it. I feel like in this day and age, millennials especially, like we give up on things way too fast.
Sure.
And I felt like we need to start taking care of our relationships the way we would take care of our health, the way we take care of our careers and our businesses and things like that. So that's why I put together the book. And I didn't just pull it out of nowhere. Like, this is the way I handle my own relationship. A little backstory on it. My boyfriend Joshua and I, we read this book called 24 and Divorced by Leonardo Cavalli. And in the book, it had 10 tough questions on what to do, like, before you break up, before you get married, like before you take any big step. We did the questions, and we were in like the honeymoon phase at that point, and we were like, oh, everything's going great. We did the questions, and we're like, oh wow, there's some things we never spoke about here. So we realized once we did the questions, we needed a way to follow up on the questions. It's like, okay, well, how do we keep track of this? So we decided, let's do a meeting every month, something like this, where we can talk about our issues and stuff like that. We had the next meeting, and we're like, wow, a lot of things happened this month. So we decided, let's do it every week. So every week we take out an hour and we talk about everything that happened last week.
Every week.
Every single week.
You take
Yes,
out and you
and
take out
empty.
1 hour.
1 hour. Sometimes it
every
goes
week?
over an hour, yeah.
This sounds like a commitment.
It is. A relationship is a commitment.
I'm already afraid.
So how did
I'm
you
already overwhelmed.
how did you get to the point where you would be mature enough to have someone say and critique how you, because as women we think that we do everything perfect, but to have someone say, oh, well, you know what, this wasn't cute last week and I need you to get it together. How did you get in your mind that you would be mature enough to receive that criticism?
I think it's always about having that growth mindset. So both of us, we love to grow. We want to grow every single day, not just monthly or yearly. We want to grow every single day. So I'm open to hearing any type of critiques. I don't want to have anything bad said about me or anything like that. So every week when we do talk about things, if there's an issue, I'm actually happy with hearing that there's something I can work on. It makes me a better person.
What qualities do you feel, I know you mentioned maturity, but I think that also comes with some self-confidence as well, yes?
Yeah, definitely. You need to have self-confidence, and you need to self-evaluate a lot.
Yeah.
Because you have to look at yourself first. A lot of people are quick to jump into things and like say, oh, well, you did this wrong, and like they just blame their partner. But you need to take like accountability for things and see what you're doing wrong. That might be making your partner act a certain way too.
Right.
So you get to the bottom of things by looking at yourself first.
Okay. So when you think about, I guess, issues that people typically have in relationships, I know something that comes to mind from my own personal experience are arguments. So when it comes to argumenting, I mean, I know that different people have different argumentative styles, and I definitely want to hear your opinion on that. But what are some healthy ways to kind of reel it in so that you aren't like literally shredding each other and just,
So it's really hard to like just give you an answer for that. For me, we don't argue. Like we have disagreements.
What?
We have disagreements.
Yes,
We disagree and we
indeed.
butt heads on a lot of things, but we don't like yell at each other. We don't call each other out of our names or anything like that. Nothing disrespectful, but it's all about really like understand, like, do I respect him? Yes, I respect him. I'm not gonna talk to him. I'm not gonna talk down to him. He's not gonna talk down to me. It's all about just respecting your partner. So you don't get to that stage where you're yelling at each other. And I feel like sometimes it might be hard for people, especially if like, you're hot-headed or something like that, or like something just like triggers you, but you really got to take a step back before anything and just understand that, I respect my partner.
I want to ask, since you've mentioned that, and maybe Angela, you can chime in as well as your opinion, but when is it a red flag as far as like, someone, you respecting your partner? Like, I know me, for example, I am kind of like, that was strike number one. Like, where do you really draw the line? How soon can you just say, you know what, I need to get my deposit back from this relationship.
Right.
I need to take this back to the dealership. I can.
So I think like the best thing is to talk about like the issue as soon as it happens. So it's
Okay.
like if you didn't like the way your partner said something to you, talk about it like, I don't like how you just raised your voice at me, or I don't like how you just did that. Maybe you can do this next time. Like provide a suggestion, because a lot of times maybe people don't know how to treat you, or you need to teach them how to treat you. So you give them a suggestion and they'll be like, it's up to them to really listen to it. So if you notice the pattern of them not listening to you, now it's like, okay, do you want to stay or not? Do you want to like maybe talk to them about it again, or just walk away from it? Because I feel like people, they show you who they are in the beginning, and we tend to say, oh yeah, it's just strike one, it's strike two, it's strike 58. Like, it
right,
builds up.
right.
Yeah.
So how did you know that your partner would be receptive to that? Have you, in your upbringing, because I know a lot of this has to do with your self-confidence, self-love, in order for you to be able to exude that to, you know, whoever your partner may be. But how did you know that he would be receptive with that kind of love?
That's a really interesting question. I guess it was just I've been in a lot of toxic relationships in the past, and I didn't want to repeat things, especially with him, because we meshed so well together. Everything just seemed perfect, and I just felt like, you know what, this relationship has to be done right. And if he didn't take things well, then I would know that it wasn't the right relationship. So it's like, just talk about things. You have to talk about your feelings. A lot of people hold it in because they're like, oh, I don't know how this person's going to take it. You have to take that first step and tell them. And if they don't take it the right way, maybe that's not the right person for you.
Okay. So let's go back to just you and I. You spoke about the inspiration for the book. What do you think are some of the key topics that you really like to give to people to help us?
The key topics, okay, so there's a lot of topics in the book, but my favorite one, the one that I think is the most important, is self-evaluation.
Okay.
Yes.
Because a lot of people, they don't look at themselves first, and it's so important. People are quick to blame other people, and people also, they don't realize what traumas have like shaped them into the person that they are. So a lot of things that we've dealt with in the past, like, we need to talk about them. We need to be willing to like maybe forgive the past, or just like understand that, okay, this made me the way I am. Now I need to create a roadmap on how to fix like what I'm dealing with, like who I am. Because that could be the reason that the relationship isn't working if you have issues. So really, self-evaluation is number one. And then also talking about the relationship and maybe things from the beginning of the relationship. It's like sometimes people, they were in that honeymoon phase and they just decided, you know what, I'm just going to admit that. I'm not going to tell this person that this bothered me. And then they resent them down the line.
Yeah.
It's like resentment is the biggest killer of relationships. So I feel like you need to just talk about things. So talking about the past of the relationship and the present, and then what you want for the future.
Right.
The future is really big. If you don't have the same common goals, it's not going to work out. No.
So there's no hope. Like, if you feel like you got good chemistry, but
if like, so big thing, like for like your moral code and stuff like, say you really, you want kids, like you have these different values. If the values don't mesh, it's just,
that's what they say. They say kids, religion.
Yeah, marriage. Some people don't want to get married, so that's a big thing.
Oh, marriage in general.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Do you feel like age has anything to do with it as well? Or do you think maybe as people get older, it's a little bit easier to be in relationships, or when they're younger, it's harder? What's your opinion on that?
I don't think age really has anything to do with it. Yeah, I think it's just about understanding like how relationships are supposed to work. I feel like we're not taught how to be in relationships. I think that's another main reason I wrote the book, because a lot of people, we see examples of bad relationships at home, or just bad relationships all around us and on TV, on reality shows and things like that. These are our examples that we look up to. So a lot of times people don't have like that example to look at. But if they do have the keys, like if anyone was to read this book and go through it, no matter what age they are, they'd be able to see like, okay, this makes sense. You know, I can make my relationship work by using like the ideals from this book. But I don't think it has anything to do with age, because people aren't taught, and people, especially when you're older, you're stuck in your ways.
Right.
For the most part, people are just stuck in their ways. And a lot of people, they can change, but you have to be willing to change. But if you've lived your life that long, it's harder to change.